Good morning, Diane and Peter and Mary Jo. Hello, hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, Laura.
Okay, so it is 10:30, so let's get started. So if you'd like, you can join me in some prostrations to the altar, to the teachings. If you're not comfortable prostrating, that's perfectly fine. You can just stand and feel positive energy, whatever. So I'm going to turn this off now. So before I start sharing the prayers, I'm going to do them a little bit differently from the way that we do it with Geshe-la on Sundays. For some of some of them. So yeah. So first, okay. No, okay, this goes. All right. So before we start on Shakyamuni Buddha's mantra, which is on page 34, the red tab in the Gold Prayer Book. We're going to pause. Usually we say this 3 times. So before we start on the first recitation, let's think about all the sacrifices or the wonderful intention that Buddha Shakyamuni had to bring the teachings to the world. And all, the fact that he was brought up as a prince and he even married and had a child, and he left all that behind in order to find out for himself how to liberate, that he knew that there was suffering, the suffering of old age and death, and that there was a way of overcoming those sufferings. And he didn't just do it for himself. Well, he did it for himself, but he did it because he knew that everyone, this was universal, and that he needed to find a way to, for all sentient beings to be liberated from that. So thinking about all that, all the wonderful things that he did by sacrificing that wonderful princely life where his father made sure that he did not experience any kind of suffering or complications or problems, physical or mental at all. So let's think about that when we chant the first recitation. Te ata Soha. Now let's think about how he went into the forest, cut off his hair, gave up all his princely possessions, his wife, his newly born son, and, to find, and then sort of befriended some ascetics. And I think it was for several years, he sat in meditation pose, only eating 1 grain of rice per day, practicing ascetics in order to figure out how to liberate himself. So I think it was either 6 or 8 years. 6 years? Was it six? Okay, six. Thank you. 6 years that he did that. And I saw a statue of him. He was just like skin and bones, and that he did that for all of us. So let's think about that, of what he did for us. As we chant the Shakyamuni mantra again. Te ata mune mune maha munaye soha. And then for the last time, when he finally did liberate himself, from the oceans of samsara and became enlightened, he spent 49 days thinking that he would not be able to spread this teaching because it was so difficult to understand. And so what he did was he was, asked to give the teachings. And so he consented to do that. And so until for quite a few years, I think 30 years, he taught, he gave the 84,000 teachings that we see. These are also included commentaries of the Pechas all along on the side right here, that we're so really blessed to be able to even look at the ends of those teachings, those books. So, and that, we have the karma to come to the world to be able to experience and learn the complete, full teachings that Shakyamuni Buddha gave 2,600 years ago. Te ata o mune mune maha munaye soha. Now there's a Medicine Buddha stanza and mantra also on page 34. So there's the stanza is the verse of praise. So let's say that. Bhagawan with equal compassion for all, whose name when merely heard dispels the suffering of the lower realms, dispeller of disease and the 3 poisons, I prostrate to Medicine Buddha, Lapis light. So as we say the mantra down below, then which starts with Teata. If you can't pronounce this, or you choose not to do that, you can always just think about blue lapis lazuli, blue light, just falling into your body and purifying all your sicknesses, all your problems, injuries, whatever's troubling you. Just think of that. So, the practice, the actual practice, is that there are the 7 Medicine Buddhas above your head, not touching your crown, but right above it. And one dissolves into the other, and they have colors, like gold or yellow. So Geshe-la calls them yellow. So you could think yellow dissolves into yellow, dissolves into yellow, dissolves into red, dissolves into pink, dissolves into orange, dissolves into finally to Medicine Buddha, whose color is dark blue. And what I like to do while I'm thinking of that is it's not just dissolving one into the other, but you might also think about the light, such as the yellow light or yellow or gold light, falling from the Buddha. For example, renowned glorious King of excellent signs, and that it's coming down like snow or light, like glitter or something, and coming down into you and penetrating you and cleansing you and purifying you of all your sicknesses and problems and complications, anything that's happened, earlier in life, before today, and that may happen to you in the future, birth, old age, illness, death, so forth. All the things you want that you can't get, all the things you don't want that come, things that, you don't get because you want to get, and then the problems of our body, the 5 appropriate aggregates. Just think of that. So first, let's think about the yellow light going into the Buddha underneath, below that, who is also yellow. Teata om bekanze bekanze maha bekanze bekanze raja samugate soha. Okay, and then we go again from yellow or gold to other golds. Teata om bekanze bekanze maha bekanze bekanze raja samugate soha. Okay, and then again, gold to gold. Teata om bekanze bekanze maha bekanze bekanze raja samugate soha. Then I'm gold to red. Teata om bekanze bekanze maha bekanze bekanze raja samugate soha. And then from red to pink. Teata om bekanze bekanze maha bekanze bekanze raja samugate soha. Then pink to orange or coal red. Teata om bekanze bekanze maha bekanze bekanze raja samugate soha. And then from coral red to blue of medicine Buddha. Teata om bekanze bekanze maha bekanze bekanze raja samugate soha. Okay, now I'm going to stop the sharing and I'm going to start the presentation. So today, what I wanted to do was not think up of some thing, that I thought of yesterday, as Geshe-la says. But I thought what I'd like to do is I reviewed his teachings from January to September. And I just chose a few topics that I thought that that are important, very important, and give us a chance to not just be reminded of what he said, but also a chance to listen deeply about it, meditate on it, think about how to integrate it in our lives. So we're going to meditate on a few topics and we're going to break up into small groups. And hopefully, you'll be sharing, and anyway, I'll talk about that later. But anyway, I think that we all have different ways of thinking of things. We all have different perspectives. We come from different backgrounds. But in essence, we have like minds. And this is just a wonderful opportunity because things like that don't always happen, So I think that we could really help one another by sharing what we think about these teachings, these topics. So the first thing that I'd like to do, since just to relax our minds, calm our minds, because we know we're going to be doing this. We're going to be sharing, and not only sharing within the group, but hopefully you'll share with the entire group, everyone, plus the people online. And so in order to do that, we need to settle our minds. Okay. So first, we can either just focus on our in and out breath, or we can even count our breaths. And the reason we do that is to make our mind neutral. So we can turn our minds to something neutral or positive, not something negative. Okay. So I'm going to sound the bell once to begin and once to end. If you're going to do the practice of counting breaths, Geshe says we start with an inhale and count 1. Exhale, inhale, count 2. Exhale, inhale, count 3. And make your goal a certain number, such as 7 or 21, whatever. And try to keep your focus on counting your in-breath and letting go with your out-breath. If you lose count, go back to square one and start over. Okay. So the first discussion that I hope you'll participate in is on what is happiness. So I'm going to read what Geshe-la says, that physical happiness is heavily dependent on the object and is temporary. They are things that appeal to your senses, such as delicious food, such as, warm chocolate chip cookies from Whole Foods. Okay. On the other hand, mental happiness is achieved by doing something positive, by saying something nice. It creates merit. Happiness generated by a positive mindset lasts longer and increases. Without others, there will be zero happiness. Who made my clothes? Who takes my garbage? The moment you wake up, gratitude. Be kind to others. Don't discriminate. Don't look down on others. Wish them happiness. People say when they come here, they feel comfortable. Look at others with love because they are yearning for love. They deserve love. Give or share. Every action counts. Being kind is very important. Make others feel comfortable. Everyone has issues. So wish everyone to be happy. That is peace of mind. That's how the world becomes peaceful, more harmonious. Don't emphasize secondary issues like race, etc. Okay, so this is what I want you to do. You break into small groups and talk about what makes you happy and what happiness means to you. So just remember, you are in a judgment-free, expectation-free, competition-free zone. And you can do one of three things. You can describe one of the happiest moments of your life, or the things that make you really happy, or something that happened to someone else that made you happy. So, if you don't want to go into your personal life, you can talk about that. And also please be prepared to share to everyone, to the group. And also, we need someone in the group to make sure everyone has a chance to say something. Okay, so please, and that's why I didn't do the whatever you call it, the saying hello, because we're going to do groups. So please break up in groups.
If you are on Zoom, I'm going to create 2 breakout rooms and you can choose one or the other. And if you are on YouTube, just sit and think about this question of happiness.
Okay, we have just a few more minutes. So please be sure everyone has had a chance to say something. Okay, please go around the room or the circle. What's that? Yeah. He could. If he felt like. And then he fell and realized he could stop. Okay. Now it's time to share with the entire group. Hopefully you've chosen someone to be a spokesman. So we'll be passing the microphone around. So if okay, you want to start your group first or? Okay. Sharing what makes you happy. Really, really happy.
So most of the experiences that our group came up with had a lot to do with finding a sense of mindfulness and then connecting with other people. So should we share each experience or?
You could just summarize.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of it had to do with connecting with other people and then realizing the non-dual nature of things and our own interconnectedness and feeling the energy from that and sharing that joy and connection with other people around us.
Wow, thank you. So another group, maybe the group behind you or who wants to share? Oh, yes.
Okay, does this work? Okay, hi. I think our summary was happiness comes from internal in our mind, a decision at every moment to be happy, to be in joy. And when you make that decision, automatically the thought of compassion arises. As you practice that more and more to choose to find that joy and compassion arises. And then it's a good positive feedback loop of compassion arises and you express it to another. And then happiness and joy arise, and then more compassion arises. And then in my case, I shared that then I get slapped in the face with the suffering around everywhere. And that's when I think the mindfulness has to take over of finding that joy again and getting back in that positive feedback loop rather than the doom scrolling feedback loop. So,
Thank you.
did anything else? Yeah, guys. Okay. Thank
In our group, it seemed like the common theme was connecting with outside of yourself, everywhere from connecting with one other person to family or community, sharing their joys, or just being with them. And then all the way toward sentient beings all around the planet through travel or with nature, being able to just look at the stars and feel like there's a connection there, or to feel your place in the universe.
Wonderful. See another group?
In our group, we had things like finding happiness through travel in beautiful landscapes and gardens. One person said just letting go and listening to birds chirp outside, and just one person said doing things for other people, helping other people doing projects, handy projects. One person said volunteering and helping others. Others said they enjoy music and arts, film, and even sharing their experiences with others afterwards. One person said music and meditation. Another person said just being in gratitude. And then another person said changing to a new routine. They found, got up early and found that there was a 7 a.m. Meditation that they were able to participate in. So.
Wonderful.
Do you want to share next?
So in our group, we spoke about a few different things. She works from home and she has a elementary school in back of her. And she said just the laughter of the children brings her complete happiness. I'm a nurse and I was saying that peace in our home and peace with people around me is actually what brings me joy and brings me happiness. And I know we're married, but I forgot what you said. I'll let you say that.
Typical. Well, I agreed with you, but I also extended it to being able to take the peace at home, taking it into work where when other people are frustrated or there's chaos, being able to then try and provide that sensibility of peace for them through one's own personal stability. And then likewise, hopefully receiving the same in kind sometime.
So within our group, very similar. We started out with boba tea. And as we got deeper into thinking about it, you know, foods or drinks obviously make us feel good. And then it also from within, that peace from within and that connectedness within is then connects us with others. And that really was a deeper sense of peace and joy and happiness, is really being surrounded by others. And I do also want to share my two friends here. It is our first time here, and we're excited to have you both here. So thank you.
Hello, for our group, I was trying to think of other ways to be happy besides just doing something for someone else, because that's definitely helpful. And we came up with some ideas. I like spending time with my niece, and I'm really in the present moment. So we were thinking being in the present moment, or someone said being a part of a group and working on something together, that sense of connectedness, but also being focused on something outside of yourself and just focusing on how you're feeling. Also having a positive mindset, having your thoughts be positive, making music, creating music, but more doing that with someone else or feeling a connection through that can make you even happier. So I thought that was interesting, kind of like being in the present moment, but also not totally focusing on yourself, and your happiness was a common theme. So thank you.
Anyone else in the Kadampa, or should we move online?
Yeah, what about?
We have a couple of groups online. Does anyone from one of those two groups want to unmute and share? Everyone's being quiet.
I can go first for our group. We were in room 2. What we talked about was happiness through helping others by teaching them something new. Yoga was what we talked about, and new scientific discoveries, perhaps, that could be helpful or beneficial to people. And or if they have a need for help in some area, just being able to jump in and kind of pitch in and help. Also, expressing gratitude and recognizing all of the many blessings that we have, and connecting with nature.
And anyone from the first group?
Yes, we discussed several people, the happiest moment of their lives was the birth of their first child. And a couple of us, the happiest day of our life was the day that we got married. So these are more external events, but you know, ones that last a lifetime, you know, that bring us happiness.
See. Great. Thank you so much for sharing. I think we should give ourselves a good hand. I think that was wonderful. Just amazing. You know, I think we all learned from one another for that. Okay. So let's see. I have a couple of more meditations and group discussions, but I think I'll skip to the last one. And it's It's about guarding alertness. So it sort of helps with our the topic that we just spoke about, discussed. Everything depends on the mind. We need to guard our mind in every way possible. And I'm just quoting Geshe. Unhappy thinking is caused by mind. Don't believe everything you think. If we are seeking happiness, and all beings seek happiness, we need to guard and protect our mind. The moment something goes wrong, we blame someone or something else. Make sure we don't do something to hurt people for the sake of our own happiness. If someone says something hurtful or insulting, you could think of the words as an echo without substance. Your perception of the person or situation could be wrong. Just move on without feeling superior, with compassion. And he has quoted these stanzas. I'll just do 3 of them. From Shantideva's Guide to a Bodhisattva's Way of Light, chapter 5, stanzas 1, 2, and 3. Guarding alertness. Those who wish to guard their practice should very attentively guard their minds, for those who do not guard their minds will be unable to guard their practice. In this world, unsubdued and crazed elephants are incapable of causing such harms as the miseries of the deepest hell, which can be caused by the unleashed elephant of my mind. However, if the elephant of my mind is firmly bound on all sides by the rope of mindfulness, all fears will cease to exist and all virtues will come into my hand. Okay, so now this discussion is about guarding alertness. So we go back to our groups, so you can form new groups, whatever, and discuss ways to guard and protect your mind at work, at home. I think some of you have already touched on that. When you're on errands, even when you're by yourself, alone, how do you guard your mind? Share situations where guarding your mind helped you or where you didn't and it could have helped you. Okay, and so let's come back in about 10 minutes. Okay, is that long enough? Yeah, okay. Yeah, it was. Okay, it's time to wrap up and share with the whole Kadampa. Thank you very much. Shall we start backwards this time? Do the last person first? The last group first?
All right, everyone. Izzy's coming around with the microphone. We're going to go in the reverse order. So if you can give your attention to the group in the back of the Kadampa, we'll go ahead and there's Allie. Thank you, Allie.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, Michael, rein it in. Everyone else, rein it in. We're going to pay attention. I know. Michael Flaherty. We're giving our attention to the back group. Poor Michael. I love him though.
I was hoping for a quick answer to this one. How do we guard our mind? But I don't think it's a simple trick or anything. It seems like it takes practice and really noticing. Maybe it's helpful to look at the end of the night, like what you did well, what you could work on, but it takes up some practice and reflection. It's helpful if you process things a little slower and you're not a quick reactor, because then you can keep your mouth closed. But also practicing just keeping your mouth closed, even if you're feeling angry in your mind, can be helpful because it doesn't maybe make the argument worse, and it gives you a chance to think about what you really want to say.
Thank you.
I think that's what we.
You're supposed to today.
Oh.
All right, what was the question again?
How do you guard your mind? Wow, a lot of great things came up here in our group. And I think definitely being able to be silent, just calm, center, and don't react. I think that's really important. What else do we say? I mean, I know you had a lot to offer here about recentering, rewiring, not reacting right away to things. And it's very powerful. It's very difficult, right? I mean, there's a lot of stresses that come in this world, and we've got to really just center and realize, let go. Not everything is as important as we think it is. Just let go and let the process take its place and trust in it. I think that's really important.
It's hard to summarize. How to guard your mind. I think we realize that we struggle with it all the time, and that we should probably try to limit exposure to a lot of negative things like on the news. Is there any reason why you need to view negative newscasts hours a day or even minutes a day? And I think one idea would be behave politely and kindly toward others, which will tend to reflect back, and they will treat you the same way rather than just erupting like a volcano and creating a big scene and meanness and, ugliness toward others.
Thank you.
Say about the empathy.
Yeah, just empathy and compassion for people. You don't know what somebody's going through. So I try and recognize you don't you don't know what's going on in the world. And you said it as well. And just trying to understand we're all going through something and giving people a lot of compassion.
And thinking positively, talk about the glass, looking at it like glass half full instead of half empty, and thinking positive outcome.
We talked a lot about what you allow into your mind on a daily basis, the things you watch on television, the music that you listen to, the social media things. If that's all negative aspects coming into yourself, how are you supposed to be a benefit to others? You can't be, if you don't have positivity, you can't be a benefit to other people. We also talked about absorbing the negative energy around us while we drive or in our workplace. If you work in a stressful environment, it's very hard to stay positive and guard your mind because you do feed off of other people. So yeah, that's what we got.
Great.
We talked about music in the previous group we were in, and then here that came up, and like several other groups, politics came up, and what you expose your mind to, on a daily basis. And I said that it helps me anyway to have something positive, specific, a place to put my mind instead of just, oh, well, I'm going to not do this. Having an alternative. And anybody else?
Anybody from this group?
We had two people who start their day in certain ways. One with a particular meditation to clear the mind and perhaps get to clear light in some way. Others who scan themselves and decide where their weaknesses might be. I might be putting words in their mouth, so if they differ, please tell me. And to use that knowledge during the day to keep their mind steady and moving forward in a good way. And not pursuing negative books and movies and things. And I particularly get tired of things. And I think, why am I doing this? What am I going to learn? And how am I going to feel when I'm done? And I wish that you two saw my shorts because okay, well, space, and I'm really blanking. I'm so sorry. And your mind, yeah, please.
I think a few of us mentioned freeing up the space, which I think echoes what everyone is sharing. I also think this entire task or assignment has shown that we all are saying, repeating in our own words what we've learned from the Buddha about alertness. All the little gotta stay on it, gotta stay on it, gotta stay on it. Geshe-la, gotta stay on it, gotta stay on it. So yeah.
So we talked about how every moment is a choice, and remembering that, we are empowered every second of the day to be making choices, and also having mindfulness about where we are physically and where other people are. So when the acronym I use is HALT, hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. We should probably be a little more aware. and making sure that we are asking more questions and slowing down before we respond. And we also talked about mantras and the protection of mantra and the benefit of singing them instead of necessarily just repeating them, because it can become a little more mindless versus mindful. And the practice of singing them slows the brain down a little bit. Did I get everything?
It's all happening. Still all the negatives.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, awareness that things are all going to be happening around us. There are negative things happening around us, but we are, finding our own presence in the moment and grounding ourselves in that and recognizing that we can, we are still here. We are not threatened existentially. So at least in moments where we aren't.
Anyone online in either of the groups want to unmute and share what you talked about?
Well, in our group, we discuss also the recitation of mantras. That is something very powerful, and give us awareness of our minds. We also discussed that it is good to be aware of the thought processes in our head. Try to catch ourselves before saying something that might hurt other people, or before doing something that might hurt other people of ourselves. Being really aware of not let our thoughts become actions if they're negative or potentially hurtful. And just recognizing that our thoughts are, constantly flying around, and we don't have to follow every single one of them. I think that we discussed also something else, but I don't know where Laura or Peter want to add to that, because it just escaped my mind right now.
Thanks, Orlando. Laura, Peter. Anyone from the other group? Oh, go ahead, Peter.
I can't think of what the other thing was either, so.
One of the things that Orlando mentioned was being mindful when you're hungry and tired, which equals hangry.
Anyone from the other group that was on Zoom want to share?
Yes, we actually came up with a lot of things. Taking a breath when you feel something, some strong emotion, just stop and take a breath. Look directly at the disturbing thought and try to figure out where it comes from or what its source is. Developing patience and understanding. Stop and process and think, do you really need to respond to this person? Give people a little space. And I had take a breath written twice. So take a lot of breaths. Anybody else from my group? Did I miss anything?
Okay, thank you so much for sharing. We should give ourselves a hand. And I think we all learned something from each of the groups, from the community day. And, because we all have such like minds, we've heard the same teachings. Of course, there's a little overlap, and of course, the teaching, the truth, overlaps. So that's why I think that sometimes we are just hearing the same thing in some of the groups. So just to summarize, or just to conclude, you already know this, but never stop thinking positively. even if the world is negative and hopeless or appears that way, you know, he listening to the news, whatever, and problems and complications fall down like rain, because what we could do, which is very difficult, is that we could transform it into a path, thinking that, you know, this negative karma is being burned, is experienced, it'll never happen again. It's never too late. And you know, just like, you know, when you're small, you know, you want another chance, you know, to throw the basketball in the hoop, or to have another chance in the game that you're playing. We always have another chance. We have innumerable, countless chances. Our ultimate nature in our according to Buddhism, it's immortal. Everyone will eventually remove all their afflictive minds. All the obstacles will go away because we are working on our minds, because the obstacles are mental. We are our own obstacles. We are our own savior. So, and we will eventually attain the goal, you know, liberation and enlightenment. So because of our Buddha nature, we are programmed for success. It may take a while, you know, but the end, the goal is success. Everyone will be enlightened and liberated. There is so much hope always. So what we have to do is whenever something happens and you think, oh, I said something I shouldn't have, I did something I shouldn't have, or maybe I did something 10 years ago, don't think that that's still you. You just have to brush it off, get up and start over again. You know, purify that regret with regret, tremendous regret. You might say some Vajrasattva mantras or whatever, but the main practice is regret. And you know that you're regretting. You know you did it. You did something that you shouldn't have, but now you know that it's correct, incorrect, that you shouldn't have done it. And you know yourself, you will never do it again because you have such regret for that. And you know what suffering it may have caused to whoever you did it to, or whatever you did to do, you know. And also, I sincerely thank you all from the bottom of my heart for coming to the center, for sharing. I'm so grateful for the center. This is where I was ordained. I'm so fortunate for all of you and for our teachers, of course. And I think you are all teachers, and you are all part of my practice. I thank you all. Every day, I pray for you. I pray for your loved ones every day. And so I think we can do the dedications now. I'll just share that. Okay. Right. Let's see. How do I get rid of this? Okay. So if you go to the blue tab in the Go Prayer Book, you should be on page 246, the dedication verses from Master Shanti Deva, Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. May all beings everywhere, plagued by sufferings of body and mind, obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtue of our merits. May no living creature suffer, commit evil, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled with a mind weighed down by depression. May the blind see forms and the deaf hear sounds. May those whose bodies are worn with toil be restored on finding repose. May the naked find clothing, the hungry find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth, those weak with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find hope, constant happiness and prosperity. May there be timely rains and bountiful harvests. May all medicines be effective and wholesome prayers bear fruit. May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from their ailments. Whatever diseases there are in the world, may these never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid, and those bound be freed. May the powerless find power, and may people think of benefiting each other. For as long as space remains, for as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. I'm going to go to page 244, and we'll read the long life prayer for His Holiness. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful Chenrezig Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. And then on the facing page, a long life prayer for Khyentse Rinpoche Jitsen Losang Dalak. The one who mastered his speech at a very young age, the one with great patience who received the name Alatare, the one with great precision who spread the teachings of Lhamo Tsokapa and Bliss and Void, Lama ornament of the Yellow Hat tradition, please remain until samsara ends. And then the back cover, inside of the back cover, for prayer for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. Peerless teacher and assembly of the children of victorious ones, Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas, victorious Losang, father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge of the infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now. Holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings through explanation and practice, you wear the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable venerable Guru, to you I make requests. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and for mother living beings, you suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss. Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the ocean of the three jewels, and the great waves of bodhicitta of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam in glory for fortunate disciples. And on the inside front cover, the prayer for the long life for Geshe-la. Supreme Guide, you lead us on the many paths of virtue. A shining sun, you give us the best of excellent explanations. Supreme virtuous and path. Lama was announced fame. May you ever remain. And then for Geshe Sampo, you who have steadfast imprints of virtuous qualities and keep the instructions of the glorious Guru in your heart, you pass day and night with noble activities. Great virtuous friend, may you have a very long life. And then 7 Tara mantras. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. 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 Om Tare Tu Re Soha.
Lamala, thank you so much. Are there any announcements before we head out? Elise and Allie and Rebecca, come on down.
I want to let you know, remind you that tonight, the Triangle Interfaith Alliance, who is an affiliate with Kadampa Center, is hosting a gratitude potluck this afternoon at 4 o'clock at the Holy Trinity Lutheran Church on the corner of Clark Avenue and Brooks. There's a nice big parking lot on Brooks Avenue side. Pull in there and go in that way. This is a really important and valuable opportunity for you to connect with people that you normally wouldn't, people of other faiths and cultures, Baha'i, Islamic. Many of us already interact with some Christians, but there's many different faiths and ways of thinking and being that it's really valuable to interact with. It's one of the goals of His Holiness for us to interact and respect other faiths and cultures. So please consider this. It's a potluck. If you don't want to bring anything, there's always plenty of food. And if you will have an opportunity to share some thoughts on gratitude from your own faith perspective, if you want to, it's optional. So please consider this. This information is on this week online, Or there's one of these flyers on the wall on the other side of this wall. You could take a picture of it, okay? And also remind people that we still have the food drive going on for another couple of weeks, I think. Please remember that there's so many people who are really struggling with food, and every bit that we can alleviate their suffering is really valuable. And the reason that Kadampa Center in particular is hosting this food drive, not only to help those people, but as an opportunity for you when you're in your everyday, when you're going grocery shopping, to think of others and do have the mindfulness of thinking of others, actively choosing something and remembering to bring it here. It's a really important exercise for your mind. So that's all I have to say about that. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I have a quick announcement. I'm Allie. I just wanted to remind everyone of the children's program. It's the second Sunday of every month. And also, please mark your calendar for December 14th. It's a Bless the Children Day. It is the second Sunday of December, and we're going to be having a special blessing here for all children. Thank you.
Hey everybody, my name's Beck. We're starting Tai Chi today, so if you didn't get a chance to sign up in advance, we're going to be doing it right outside from 12 to 1. And if it's raining or inclement weather, too cold, we'll be doing it for 3 Sundays in November, so 3 consecutive Sundays, but we'll do it inside, so you never have to wonder if we're meeting. We can still take reservations, so you can just meet me in the lobby right after, and yeah, we'll get started.
Anyone else? Okay, I think that's it. Thank you, Lamna. All right, and we'll say goodbye to everyone on the line. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining and participating in the GAMPA.